Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. It is Thursday, the 18th day of May 2023, and we are delighted to be live here at the Ligony Club, Free Flowing Thursday. Welcome to those who have joined us on air and those who have joined us online. We are very pleased to be with you in the beautiful outdoors. You've got to see it. Once you've got past the mangoes on the ground, which I had to sweep up mangoes this morning, it is a beautiful day here in the gardens of the Ligony Club. They are our hosts or sponsors on Thursdays. Ligony Club, of course, is one of the largest sporting facilities. It's a private members club in the heart of New Kingston, Jamaica. 6 squash courts, 7 tennis courts, or is it 8? I think 8 tennis courts now that I think about it. And throughout the morning, you'll hear the mangoes landing. Yes, we're like in a war zone. But good morning to you, Pastor Percival. How are you this morning?
I am good.
I see we're kind of
reciting
the same colors.
Reciting mangoes. You know, like you grew up as a child and you usually play dandy shandy on your site.
Mangoes are not easy.
The mangoes are not easy this morning, but it's so good to be alive and in this warm sunshine and in terms of the glory of God being expressed in nature, which just reminds me, even as we have gone through this week and we've been looking at certain biblical characters and what they stand for and what they mean. In Hebrews you have the chapter of faith, and it was mentioned Hebrews 11 what faith is and so on, and it mentions all of these guys, and 2 of the guys that we've looked at Deborah. That was last week. No, so the person, not guys, the person. So Deborah was a lady who was the judge, and we've looked at Gideon. No, and we've looked, and then there was Jephthah. You remember Jephthah?
Oh, I do remember.
The Jephthah who made that fool vow.
Oh God!
It was a fool vow, and it went contrary to what God would have wanted him to do, because he instructed them, do not follow the practices of people round about you, and one of the practices was to offer their children in the fire to Molech. And if he said that, he should have said no, something. He never expected it to be, and should have been man enough to say, Lord, I make a mistake. I need to walk away from this vow.
That's such an interesting story, what happened with Jephthah, because he made the vow, not intending to offer his child. Sacrifice.
Yeah.
I don't know what he thought would meet him at the door.
That's what I'm thinking. Probably was thinking wife would call.
Anyway, definitely his one dege daughter.
Yes.
Says to the Lord, the first thing that meets me, I will give to you as a burnt offering. As a burnt offering. Solo meal daughter.
Is dege daughter.
Yes.
I said the one dege dollar may have a gift to you.
Yeah. So he offered the first thing as a burnt offering. So he was clearly expecting something that moved. But maybe a favorite pet? I don't know.
Or goat or something.
But it turned out his daughter rushed out to meet him. But it was his daughter who says, no, Father, I will not cause you to break your vow.
Yeah, but he could have said, Lord, I know I made this vow, because God is a merciful God. I believe would have said, no, God is a merciful God. I wouldn't want that to do and to be that way.
With his daughter saying, I will not live. I will not.
Give me 2 months. Give me 2-3 months.
Yeah.
They go, I see that I'll never go beyond this. Give me 3 months. Let me go in the bushes with my girlfriends and have a good time.
Yeah.
But
there's some translations, that says she did not come back.
Oh, she didn't come back.
There's some translations that say he didn't have to do it because having given her permission to go, she didn't return. But the New King James Bible makes it very clear. It says specifically that, and he did as he had promised the Lord.
Yeah, because it's what it understanding. I hope no mangoes drop on our heads this morning. Because we are directly people. You know what we could do? We could span it. Let them just look up and see that we are sitting under a mango tree. But.
Oh, here's a beautiful question from one of our listeners. He says, "Greetings, Morning Connection. Are we broadcasting today from Kingston, Jamaica, or are we at East Legon in Accra, Ghana?" Wouldn't that be beautiful? You're prophesied, Bob Cosme.
He said we need to go to Ghana. Yeah.
No, because yesterday I was having a conversation.
Oh, because
I was having a conversation with my friend in South Africa.
Yes.
Who is working on a program to have our show in Africa.
Okay.
But as the producer pointed out, it is your beautiful garment.
Oh man, I love it. They should see more of it. That is why I'm shifting and I'm moving to go back and going back to my roots in terms of my wardrobe and what I'm wearing.
You have one of the robes?
Not yet, but it's gonna come.
Yeah.
I have some good African brethren,
Let me ask you, in your church, do you use robes?
No, sister. Not
Okay,
with our pastor bishop.
Like that laugh. That sounds like something was proposed and shut down.
You understand? not for as long as the bishop. Nothing. No son, not him at all. Not him at all. He don't even like to be referred to as a reverend or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just, and you know what they call him. He's not into them things, sister.
I actually think that is quite endearing about him. That
no, sir, him not in that one day at all. But as we are here today,
yes,
and we are reflecting on all of the happenings of the week, I am just one of the things that I always say this. I always go into Romans 1 when I see the actions of persons and what they are reaping. And Paul was just talking and just saying, all right, my brothers and sisters, I want you to understand this, that God uses the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. And he's reminding us that God's righteousness has been revealed to people, and we continuously speak to the reality that God's righteousness is revealed in your heart. You speak about that, but it is also revealed in what we say about us, this wonderful garden that we are sitting in, and the creations we have come up with. But yet, even though it has been revealed to us, your favorite word, imaginations, imaginations of their mind decide, say, you know what, my imagination, my 2%, they say our brain, most of us function at 2%. If you're a genius, your brain functions at 5% of the capacity. I've just chosen. We don't want that, and we're going to do what we need. So therefore it says that I'll leave you. Okay, for although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools, and they exchanged the glory of the immortal God for image made to look like a mortal human being and birds and reptiles. And it says, God leave them up, all right? You on your own. Just reflect on what's been happening this week, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away, I believe. Our leaders have now truly put themselves out there. They are not sure, and people are seeing what is in their hearts in regards to the people that they are supposed to be serving and looking after and being shepherds of these people. It's now revealed. And no amount of pontification or sayings or seeking to justify it is going to take back what now they have revealed their hands to the people. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is fortunate because we've seen what is in their heart.
You know, we're seeing a lot of what's in people's hearts
Yes.
these days, because to the extent that our society, or the integrity and functioning of our society, depends on the various parts working together in some semblance of order and with kind of like a common theme binding us to movement in a certain direction. When you can rightly construe from the actions in the public space what a person's motivations are, it gives you the ability to determine whether or not we're on the right track. Are we going to get there? It allows you to assess the potential for success. That's what I think. We as a democracy depend on the media. We depend on civil society institutions, you know, the volunteer members clubs, the church, the PSOJ, the various organizations that come together to broadly represent the perspective of stakeholders, discrete stakeholders. We depend on those agencies to represent what their constituents want and will support. We depend on the security forces to maintain law and order, and to do so in a way that allows the average person to freely move about in the society to carry out the business of the nation. So I put security.
Yeah, insecurity.
Yeah.
More insecurity of the people.
We also depend on the teachers, the intellectual, the brain trust of the nation to be at one on how we are training minds, how we are honing skills, what is the game plan that we're preparing the workforce to, we're mobilizing the workforce along a certain path. So I put the brain trust. And then we also depend on the producers, the farmers, the caregivers, those ones who work in the back room. Is it the mangoes?
Mangoes falling, I see the producer get up and I look,
Sounded like a big one.
Boof, yes.
Yeah, so we rely on the producers to give us food, sanitation services. These are the ones now who kind of provide the lifeblood that keeps the country humming. Okay, when you look at each element and you can discern the posture of their heart.
Yes.
And for this I'm gonna put administration of justice.
That is major, because it holds everything together.
Yes. If I hurt, if wrong has been done to me, can I trust the system to address it? So I don't need to go and hire my own mercenaries.
No! Which seems to become a common thing around the world in terms of the result. Yeah, yes.
Yes. Okay. We talk about the heart being exposed. Now you notice I don't even put government in it. Did you notice?
Yes, so we talk about the heart.
Government. We're talking about the heart. Because if the government as the manager in the middle, as the glue, if the government has exposed deception, as
Fleet of hand
constantly doing a three-card Monty
and
on people,
conniving
conniving, those words. You are looking to these various
elements
agencies, players
in the game,
to
stakeholders.
restore balance, because if one is pulled out of position, you're expecting the others to move and push it back into position.
You know, it balances like you're playing a football game
All right,
and somebody is ejected.
Play football.
Yes.
The team is reduced from 11 to 10.
Because somebody get a red card.
Yes.
Somehow they say it seems like they play and the producer has to be a footballer himself.
Not used to be. Producer is a fantastic.
Him still play football. Yeah, that's how I put used to.
No man, don't make the point. I think it's a good point.
That somehow
the 10-man team
play like a 12-man play. Like they don't even miss the one person who was ejected.
That's the principle.
Yes.
That is the principle. Everybody else takes up a share of what the missing man and push the game back into, and might even play better.
Yeah, because
everybody now have to move at maximum efficiency to make up for the perceived or the known gap. It's beyond even just perceived.
And even beyond that, some of the times you'd perceive that a team 11 versus 10, that the team that have the 10 players would lose the game. You know what happens some of the time? The 10-man beat the team with 11.
Motivated.
Yeah, to play well.
To play exceptionally well. Make up for the deficit. So here we are now in Jamaica. We say we have a problem in this side. Let's see if the other players in the field can pick up the slack and carry, you know.
To stand up.
I have to start with media, because media has been under pressure to explain itself.
And with our rankings going down 20 places.
20 places in the ranking for freedom of the press. And the press itself, I mean, the recent noise about members of the public being disgusting and threatening to the media is the greatest excitement that has occurred
in response to that
times. But that's not the reason why we're fallen. Those events are rare in their occurrence. Rare. You don't see the police banning the media or even government. Government, in fact, seem to have a very cozy arrangement with media.
Yeah.
What you have is media now held hostage. Media held hostage either by its own greed and lack of discipline and integrity, or held hostage by state apparatus that has become so embedded in media organizations that you can no longer distinguish between the two. So you're seeing headlines that are curated to bring a certain narrative that does not permit for interrogation by citizens or even dialogue. We have long been complaining. I mean, Rusty started me off. My first interaction with Rusty was about the lack of investigative journalism.
Right.
Nobody's going out and picking off the scab and trying to see
what is behind.
No. Between Tuesday and Wednesday, I saw a thing. Producer showed me an online story referencing the Prime Minister's wife being involved in a lawsuit and some details concerning what was happening in the case. It did not make the paper. Never make the paper. They have it in the online version. It's not in the printed paper that you get locally on the streets of Jamaica, where people could see that the Prime Minister's wife has, whilst on the witness stand, given evidence that she mistakenly included the neighbor's land in her plans that she submit for development, so she could benefit from increased density that the overall mass of land would allow. The Prime Minister's wife, an MP in her own right. So it never made the front page of the newspaper. It didn't even make the local paper. I'm looking if it's in today.
No, hold on. Let me see if you're saying to me what you're saying.
Exactly. What do you think I'm saying?
So, the Prime Minister of Jamaica,
Yes.
whose Integrity Commission
Whose statutory declaration?
cannot be gazetted because there are major, look like there are major discrepancies there with it.
They've gazetted hers?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know. Because there are two MPs that are waiting
Or
to
they
be
don't have to get it's only the leader of the party.
the only leader. But yeah.
Well,
And
they must have-
this, but remember, this case has been going on for the longest while, you know. Because this is not something new. And she is saying, because she just came into Parliament recently. But even before that, she was the
wife of the
Prime Minister.
So they would have had to be, she would have had to be filing declarations too.
Yeah, because
You know, as
me
wife.
work with I'm married to a public servant, and she is
You know what I'm seeing, Percy?
yeah,
When she was just the wife filing her declaration,
yeah.
nobody was probably probing deeply into it. So things that probably should be on his were on hers. And now that she's also MP, they're probably going back in time, pulling up the old ones that she used to file, that she filed, and now doing a deep analysis,
And
which
say-
might be bringing up
A whole heap of things.
questions that need to be answered. I'm not saying
We're not-
bringing up misdoings,
But just
but
you need to
might
answer.
be- yes, this is interesting. That's why there's been all this interest in
Can you go back?
not going back.
Because remember when we went before the John Select Committee, that question was asked by a senior member of the government who's been sounding off and saying a whole lot of things, and you're saying, I wonder where I'm going with that. Yeah. But to just cement what I'm saying. So let's close out because it's like
Almost 7.
it's almost 7 where I started. Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what not ought to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They have no understanding, no fidelity, no love, no mercy. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserves death, they not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them. Do you notice in that list that I've read, it speaks to almost everything? Deceit, liars.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, man. So
Usual suspect.
the usual suspects that are there for what has happened and what they're doing. So it's out there, my brother and my sisters who are in this journey, as we seek to make Jamaica great and better. How will you respond?
I want to take the last 30 seconds of the segment to just mention what we're going into today. Our first guest is already on spot. Good morning. We have a young entertainer just breaking into the business. Young man that we met recently, very impressed by his talent. And because we are always thinking about how our cultural expressions can become the foundation of the wealth that takes us into the next generation, we've invited Denario to speak with us this morning. When we come back after the 7 o'clock break, we're going to have Denario on. And then later in the morning, and Denario is the producer's guest. Later in the morning, we're going to have 2 other persons sharing time with us. Who remembers Musical Youth, Pass the Dutchie? Now, these are Percy's guests. Everybody have them guests this morning. Yeah? And again, it's in the vein of culture and how Jamaica has been able to, or Jamaicans have been able to exploit their cultural expressions for wealth coming from way back in the 70s.
Can you imagine that and still continue?
And continuing, we're going to have Audrey Williams, our JPS guest, who's going to be speaking to us about the National Tree Planting Competition sponsored by JPS. So we have a busy morning lined up for you. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this 7 o'clock break.